Hey everyone, welcome back to a movie review again. We're back, I told you we'd be back. I'm your host as ever, Purple Midnight 8, joined once more by my wife who is browsing Facebook Marketplace. Amelia, the Obsidian Nook Palace from why don't you say hello? That'll do. Don't even know if that picked that up, but that'll do. As you can see, we are covering Meet the Blacks, continuing with our... I say continuing, it's been a while since we've done one of these parody movies style films. Similar to on the lines of Scary Movie, White Chicks, if you can call White Chicks a parody film. It's those kinds of films. But here we are, we're back. If you didn't know, Meet the Blacks is a parody of The Purge. However, on just a measly fraction of the budget, and you can tell the budget is not as high. Mainly with the deaths that are a bit disappointing. Some are okay, but mostly it's just gunshots, which is a shame, and CGI blood. But we'll cover that when we get to it. We just watched this, I've seen it before. Amelia is new to this. The sequel came out a couple of years ago, so I thought we would do this. Didn't even realise. It's on Netflix. You want to say something?
Two things. First off, you have Paw Patrol.
In the Game Pass, yeah. Sorry, but if you didn't know, we record this using the Xbox and Discord.
I might do that on my channel as like a...
Well, you're more than welcome to.
Shooting games on my shit that, but I can do kids.
You can do kids games, you're a child.
Yeah, we're gonna we not buy this, but you can shit on that.
Yeah, we're continuing with our Netflix series of films while we have it. We're gonna get Prime next month, so expect some Prime stuff. If there is anything worthwhile, if not, we'll go back to our DVDs and Disney Plus, but we'll see. It's been a while since we've looked on Prime.
Well, we've got Prime.
We haven't yet.
Well, we will at some, like...
Yeah, we will.
Sorry.
Stassi is meow and he wants to be in the video again.
Bedtime treat.
He wants his dreamies, but he's... You can get it after, alright? We'll give them to you. So anyway, enough about the cat, and enough about our plans for future stuff. He's still screaming, you are not getting your dreamies yet. Oh, and he's come up.
Our third co-host as well.
Uh-huh, our guest star, Stazzy Pan, has arrived. Anyway, so this film was directed by Dion Taylor, who also did the sequel that we will inevitably cover at some point. It's written by him and a lady named Nicole DeMasi, who I'm not familiar with. So, the film begins with an amazing cameo by Snoop Dogg, playing a gentleman named Todd, who I believe is meant to be in whiteface.
Snoop Dogg just randomly like appears, like he was on that was it Bic lighter advert, like you had the woman for the candles and him for like weed, and they didn't even hide it.
We all know what you can't have him there promoting regular, so you know what he does. So Todd, played by Snoop D-O-G-G, gives a breakdown of the rules of the Purge. If you're not familiar with the actual Purge films, that is 12 hours of crime without punishment. Carl Black, played by Mike Epps, gives a story about how he stole money from a drug lord that got arrested, moving his family to Beverly Hills. Carl gets home to an angry man named Mr. Wookie. Good God, his actual credited name is Michael Blackson. Interesting name choice. Who continuously insults him as his son Junior, well, as Carl Jr., but I'll call him Junior for convenience, played by Alex Henderson, hits him with an RC car. He goes and sees his wife Lorena, played by Zulay Hanal, getting a manicure in front of Carl's friend, I think it's his cousin, Cronut, played by Lil Duval, who is perving on her. Carl doesn't pay the nail artist, pushing her out the front door, past Wookie, who still hasn't left. Despite the nail artist saying she's going to purge him, she doesn't. She's one of the few characters who don't make a return. Sorry, just having a little sip there. Even though I thought she would, but no. Lorena explains her concerns over where their money came from and how the kids don't trust her as their stepmother, so Carl reassures her. The president, whose name is Al Balmer, played by comedian George Lopez, gives an announcement on the TV about the purge as Carl opens his safe to ogle at his cash and drugs.
When we mentioned about Secret Life of...
Not yet. We'll get there. Ali, played by, forgive me, I don't know how this was pronounced, Brescia Webb, receives a strange text that creeps her out. Investigating inside of her room, she finds Freezy, played by literally in the last film actor King Batch, Andrew Batchelor, who we just saw in The Babysitter 1 and 2 as John, which is really weird considering we've literally just covered it. This is alright. Sorry, I'm just helping her with her colouring. She's back to her colouring, which she used to do quite a lot. So yeah, King Batch is back, surprisingly fast. I didn't realise he was going to be back so soon. Who jump scares her, and she tries to usher him out due to her father's distrust of him. Ali rushes down to Carl, who is calling her, frustrated at the continuous purge broadcast. Cronut manages to break into the safe and steal Carl's money and drugs he has stored inside of it. This is the scene that she just mentioned that reminded us of The Secret Life of Pets.
So, in Secret Life of Pets...
Which we have covered, by the way.
You have the fat cat called Chloe, and she goes into the fridge, and is it birthday cake and chicken, or just chicken?
I think it's the chicken first. For some context, she repeatedly opens the door and looks at it, closes it, looks at it, closes it, looks at it, and then eats it, and then falls, and then finds a birthday cake. And he kept doing that, where he'd keep taking a little bit of money, a little bit of drugs, over and over again. I totally just nixed a lot. That just reminded us of a film that's completely different to this. So yeah, Ali wants to send Freezy away, but is persuaded into letting him stay because of the incoming purge. We don't see a lot of the purge, and that's probably for a budget reason. But the purge is manic. You don't see a lot of it in the first film, but the second one is the superior one. She hasn't seen any of the purges. I'm sure we'll get that one day. I think I have at least one of them on DVD. Anyway, enough about that. We'll cover that when we get to it. Annoyed with Cronut's perving on Lorena, Carl searches for him, finding him working on Carl's car. Cronut tries to persuade Carl into letting him sabotage his car for an insurance claim, but he turns him down and confronts him for his, let's say, chronic masturbating.
I knew he was doing something.
He literally said that's what he was going to do, is to do an insurance claim. That comes back later. So Carl calls a family meeting before they head out for a walk, where a man called Jorge, played by Raphael Siegel, this is relevant information, I didn't think it was, but it is, tries to report them to the police, who hang up on him. The blacks continue their walk, passing white neighbours armed with guns, being stopped by the Smiths. Jim, played by Phil Austin, and Mary, played by Kate Engren, who welcome them to the neighbourhood. The purge alarm sounds, sending everyone back into their homes, where Lorena burns their dinner. Chicken, to be specific, because gotta embrace the stereotypes. An explosion sends everyone into a panic, with Carl refusing to defend their house, claiming they're safe. More explosions eventually send them into their different rooms, leaving Carl with Cronut. Lorena interrupts Freezy and Ali before they can have sex, where she talks to her while Freezy jerks off behind a shower curtain. It's very fucking weird. It's just more of King Batch. Andrew. Let's call him Andrew, just to not give him the satisfaction of having his quote-unquote stage name. Andrew. It's more of him being, well, himself, really, just loud and pretty annoying. Cronut and Carl get high, where Cronut says that the drug lord has gotten back out of prison and has murdered all of the witnesses. Which obviously is not a good thing for a man who witnessed it and stole all the money. Opening his safe, he discovers it all missing and decides enough is enough and throws Cronut out. Everyone rushes to investigate, with Freezy finally showing himself to everyone, insulting Carl and firing a gun at him. Much like the actual Purge film. Arguing with Ali as he does, she accidentally pushes him over it. Well, it does kill him. I thought he comes back, but he doesn't. Making that 2 out of the 3 deaths where King Batch has fell to his death. Which is weird. It's weird to have two deaths where it's basically the same, except one of them had more budget and was more satisfying, because he's just annoying. Suddenly hearing a knock at the door, Carl sees masked men outside the door on the CCTV camera. The thugs make racist remarks, but after everyone gets upset, the main man, who's named Larry, played by Gary Owen, apologises and then cuts the power. Cronut suddenly appears in the room, having entered through a back door, so everyone splits up to investigate to try and find if there's any more open doors or windows. Carl discovers Keith Flo, played by the late Charlie Murphy, Eddie Murphy's brother, the drug lord whose money he stole to get the house. Key is furious at him, I will call him Key for most of this, but doesn't kill him unless he gives him his money and drugs. However, I've just called him by his actual name, not his character name. Carl manages to kill Key by accidentally impaling his head onto a coat hook behind him. However, I did put this in here, but spoilers, obviously, he does survive somehow. In the little post-credit scene we'll get to. Mr. Wookie has entered the house armed with a blowpipe, because he is a Ghanaian gentleman, so they wanted to embrace the stereotypes, I guess. As Ali is attacked by an intruder, played by the highly irritating Perez Hilton.
Can't stand him.
He's a bit of a knob. Famously a knob. Who was there to kill Carl for his credit card debt. Lorena rushes in and using a pool cue, Ali stabs him in the chest, killing him. Reuniting with Lorena and Ali, they follow a clown horn to find Junior being held captive by a man named James Clown. Who, of course, is played by the iconic Mike Tyson. James is there to collect a debt he owes for some bounce houses that I keep calling him Mike, that Carl didn't pay for. However, he stands up to him, but James beats him before having an insult match. He's wearing brass knuckles that do little clown horns when he punches him. It's a silly little joke.
It was alright to begin with, but got rid.
Yeah, it did get a bit repetitive. So yeah, he beats him before they have an insult match. Cronut intervenes only to get beaten himself, but he grabs a drill and puts it into James's skull, killing him. Now, the budget isn't great, as we mentioned. Some dodgy CGI blood here. No practical effects for the head or anything. It's a bit of a shame. It's a creative kill they could have put some of the budget into. Yeah. So another intruder, played by Lavelle Crawford, most famously for playing Huel in Better Call Saul. Carl's parole officer appears and fires at Carl, claiming his mother sold him out. The man, however, shoots himself when the bullet ricochets off of I think it was a stone bust inside of a cardboard box, which kills him. Of course. Very convenient how that was there. That was Stasi settling down. Two intruders break in and grab Cronut while the family flees, wishing to leave him behind. Larry suddenly appears again with a chainsaw, causing Carl to sneak around as he insults him. Cronut manages to escape off-screen. Somehow, it's not explained, he just randomly appears again, and is knocked out by Mr. Wookie with a blow dart. Junior, having run away, causes Lorena and Ali to go and find him, but instead they find a woman named Sharonda, played by Tani Harris, who initially is plays off as being Carl's wife. However, it's his psycho stalker. Sharonda goes to kill Lorena, but Junior smashes a toilet lid over her, incapacitating her.
Now, I'm 99% sure that having a toilet lid smashed over you would knock you out and not kill you. And
It didn't.
the only reason... Oh, it didn't kill her?
No, because she kicks her, she goes, "Hey!" or something. But no, that's why I said incapacitating her, not killed her.
Not bad.
She probably has a lot of broken ribs, but I think she's fine. Anyway, what was the point you were going to make, or is that irrelevant now? Irrelevant, okay. Excuse me. Opening a door, Carl discovers Wookie and Cronut being held prisoner by the KKK. How they got captured, who knows? This is once again left to be an off-screen. Being held prisoner by the KKK and sneaks in disguise. Carl attacks them, freeing Corona and reuniting with the others as Larry continues to prowl, apologising for his earlier racism. The family get into the car, where they are forced out of it by the Repo Man, Tyrone, played by DeRay Davis. I swear, now that I'm reading all this, it feels like this film is just nothing but cameos. It's just like, oh, new person that's in a 2-second scene. Carl fails to talk Tyrone down, and when Tyrone tries to drive away in the car, it explodes due to Cronut's earlier interference. I told you it'd come back. To quote, what's his face from Five Nights at Freddy's, I always come back. Matthew Lillard, that's the one. Ooh, Matthew Lillard mentioned, and he's not in the film. That's different. He has a history of being in a lot of the films we've covered so far, and I'm sure he will be in plenty more. So yeah, it explodes due to Cronut's earlier sabotaging, burning him to death. The noise alerts Larry, who comes in dancing with his chainsaw, not the cool way that Leatherface does in Texas Chainsaw, only to be joined by the Smiths, who shoot him dead. The Blacks thank them, but the Smiths turn on them, only to be shot by Jorge, if you remember him, way at the back of the start of the film, who appears wanting to kill them himself. However, Carl grabs one of the dropped guns and shoots him dead before making amends with his family. This is the big, moment. The Blacks emerge from their garage as the film ends with Keyflow revealing he has survived, even though I'm fairly sure that goes into his brain, as we had in Triangle, where, I suppose one of the Hemsworths in Triangle survived that, but then does die. One more scene shows them moving into a spooky cabin in the woods, being watched by Jason Voorhees and another random man. Whether or not this is sequel bait or not, we will have to wait and see until we'll do the second one. Now, we'll do our best kill, worst kill that we struggled to come up with. You just said you would agree with anything I said. The best kill can go to Mike Tyson, James Clown. Even though the CGI is pretty crap, it's still probably the better kill out of all of them, even though they're all pretty shoddy. And the worst kill can just go to Freezy, who just got thrown over a balcony and died somehow. So this film was fine. As I said before, I don't know if this was before or I've said it already during this. It's not as good as I remember it. I remembered it being a lot funnier, but as you said, as you get older, your tastes change. I remembered it being a lot more similar to the likes of Scary Movie and those sorts of films, but now it's a bit more. Ugh. There's some plot holes as well, like how does Cronut escape? How does him and Wookiee get captured? What happens to Wookiee? There's a lot of just like forgotten about scenes that could have been extended the runtime a little bit. It had its moments, it was pretty funny. Excuse me. Sorry, we're filming this at like 10 o'clock at night. There were some funny moments, but other than that, it was just pretty bad, and just did a lot of what the actual Purge did without really warranting anything else. And it was just a lot of cameos, unfortunately, but other than that, yeah, it's fine. It's definitely not one of the better films we've done. We've done plenty of bads, but we've done plenty of goods as well. But anyway, thank you ever so much for listening to our ramblings for like 20 minutes. Well, my ramblings, because someone's been colouring on her phone the whole time. Yeah, pretty much dead on 20 minutes. You fucking will be. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, I've been your host as ever, Purple98, joined once more by my wife, the Obsidian Nook, Petal ASMR. You've had her links in the description, alongside all of mine.
My turn.
It's her turn next. Be another Netflix film. Who knows what it'll be. But for now... I
don't know, and I was debating about Madagascar. I like to move it. I like to move it.
Anyway, films we want to cover, and we'll get them done at some point.
Come on.
It smell like 1, 2... Yeah. Anyway, we'll see. You'll find out in a couple of days or so, while we're still making the most of Netflix. But anyway, thank you ever so much for listening. and we'll see you next time.